technology.
Check, check. Check, check. Dennis, I'll set this. I thought I had turned down. I do, yeah. So they're just right there.
Hi, David. Yeah. It's all for you. Good morning. Just had to get all my music battened down. So please join us in our opening song, I Am a Point of Light. I am a point of light in the light of God, endless new possibility. Yes, I can feel it in darkness when I recall I am a point of light in the light of God. Love so bright as God's light. I can feel it in darkness when I recall I am a point of light in the light of God. You are a point of light in the light of God, endless with possibility. Yes, you can feel it in darkness and you recall you are a point of light in the light of God. Love so bright as God's light. You can feel it in darkness when you recall you are a point of light in the light of God. We are a point of light in the light of God, endless with possibility. Yes, we can feel it in darkness when we recall we are a point of light in the light of God. Love so bright as God's light. You'll feel it in darkness when we recall we are a point of light in the light of God. We are a point of light in the light of God. We are a point of light in the light of God. All right.
Glad everybody's here. I've been gone for a couple of weeks, and I hear Amber did a fantastic job, so let's give her a big hand. And I knew that I had been gone too long when somebody came up to me and said, "Who's our minister these days?" It was Lillian. So I'm just really glad that everybody's here, and it just gives us a wonderful chance to sort of be outdoors and just drink it all up, even with the wind blowing. I mean, it's just kind of like the passage in the Bible that says, it is what it is, right? This is the day that the Lord has made, so it just means this is what we've got, and it's pretty spectacular. Yeah. So Jim was very good and told me not to go that far. So I'm glad that everybody's here. And I asked Geraldine to light the candle ahead of time, just because there's such a wind blowing. I thought, oh, she might kind of have some difficulties trying to light it at the time. So it's lit now, but give Geraldine a hand just for lighting the candle. Now, what she does is she starts the service. And just in that act of starting the service, what it is this nice reminder that we've got this flame up here that's representative of that spark of divinity that's within each and every one of us. It's within ourselves. It's within the people sitting right next to us. It's in everyone that we meet. And we are just so blessed because that's true. Now, we try and look for a couple of different ways to demonstrate our commitment to prayer here at Unity. And so one way is our prayer box. And so the prayer boxes are located inside in the hallway. And so if you'd like to put in a prayer request in writing, then you can fill that out. And then what happens is I pray over that for a week, and we send it back to Unity Village, and it's prayed over there for a month. So if there's something that you'd like to pray for something that's happening in your life, something that's happening to someone that you love, or just a situation in the world, by all means, go ahead and complete one of those prayer requests. It's a nice way of doing things. And as I was saying, there is a prayer vessel right here. Thank you. The second way that we try and demonstrate our commitment to prayer is through our prayer chaplains. And so could I have the prayer chaplains for the stand? We've got Donna and David. Thank you. So if you'd like to engage in prayer with one of the prayer chaplains, it's just a wonderful way of doing things. And that'll be right after the service. You just go up and see either Donna or you can see David. And what happens is they'll just listen to you and everything is held in complete confidentiality. So now let me invite you to join me in our opening prayer. And even before we begin praying, let's just breathe. Let's feel the breeze tugging at our hair. And that just reminds us that we are here in this holy instant, in this holy moment. It's the Spirit of God. We breathe deeply. We just drink you in, and we let the Spirit of God fill us up. And what that does is remind us, God, that we are whole when we become more connected to you. So we feel the Spirit of God emerge from within. It bubbles up inside, and it affects our soul and our spirit and our minds and our hearts. The very dreams, the very ideas, the very thoughts that we hold, God, are always a reflection of who and what we are. An expression of the universe. An interpretation of the Spirit of God. And so we say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
Please join us in our sing-along, I Am the Thinker. I am the thinker who thinks of thoughts, who changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks of thoughts, I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks of thoughts, who changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks of thoughts, I have the power to change my life. I can choose to be the light that brightens someone's darkest night. So much more than meets the eye. I cannot be be the light, brighten someone's darkest night, with so much more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts, that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts, that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life.
Good morning, beautiful Unity family. I'm Tracy Beeson, and I am the celebration assistant for today. We love it that you are all here with us this wonderful Sunday morning. Here at Unity Center of Spiritual Growth, all people who wish to worship here are welcome. We strive to live, love, and uplift lives. We are an inclusive and affirming church. We bless people of all races, sexual orientations, colors, political beliefs, or anything else that you or they may have been judged for in the past. We simply welcome everyone who wants to pursue their spiritual path. I have the honor of introducing our musicians today. We have Paul and Gwen Gather Cole. Looks like that's it. Thank you, guys. And thank you to everyone else who makes this Sunday service happen. We appreciate you all because it really does take a lot of volunteers, especially on a day where we move everything outside. If we have anybody here for the first time today, we want to thank you for being here. We're so glad that you're here to join us and hope that you have a wonderful time. Is anybody here for the first time? We have a welcome packet for you. If you're, oh good, welcome. Those of you who are streaming for the first time online, you can also let us know that you're here with us by clicking on the Connect with Us tab in the on the website. You can submit your contact information, a prayer request, or request any information that you would like by clicking on the Connect with Us link. It's on the Synopsis tab in the website streaming window. So please let us know you're here viewing. Hopefully you all saw, nobody saw any announcements. There's no screen here. All right, so I will tell you what we have going on upcoming. So a new thing that Reverend Dennis and Amber Boren are doing a weekly discussion, poking fun at the divine while taking a deeper look at our relationship with God. Bring a beverage of choice, whatever fills your divine cup, and join them each Wednesday morning for God and Coffee. What time is that again, Dennis? Was it 10? 10 o'clock. God and Coffee here at the church Wednesday morning. We also have Divas, Diamonds, and Desserts is an upcoming benefit concert featuring the vocal talents of Judy Croteau, Gwen Gathercole, Julie Powell, and Debbie Raby. The evening of music also features a live auction and dessert bar. All proceeds are going to be contributed to the Unity General Fund. Tickets are $20 per individual and $30 per family. And if my memory serves, that's September 30th. September 30th. Sorry, we usually have the screen with the times on here, but thanks for everybody's help. Beginning on October 6th, Unity is also going to be offering a midweek service on Wednesdays. And those are going to be Wednesday evenings from 6 to 7. And this meditative service is going to be low-key with no live music, slideshow, or live stream. And Reverend Dennis Ashley and Amber Boren are going to trade off leading these evening services with support from the fabulous Geraldine. If anybody has any books, toys, and games that they would like to donate to the nursery, it could use a refresh, so any of those types of donations would be welcome. And we are also, one final announcement that Unity is always engaged in is the Family Promise. And this year, we're going to be serving from October 22nd to October 29th. And we support this wonderful mission down at the Presbyterian Church in Post Falls. And what we need is people who are willing to lend a hand to those less fortunate by signing up to host a night with a friend or a family member. The sign-up sheet for that is in the Friendship Hall, or you can call Tammy Savage. Is Tammy here? No, she's not here, but I can give you her phone number. Check with me if you need Tammy's phone number after the service, and we can get you set up helping with the Family Promise. So yeah, if you have any questions on that, please follow up. It really is a beautiful thing to spend the night, bring a friend, get to know your friend better, and just support them. So I think we're going to do the meet and greet now. So go ahead. We will ring the gong when we are done. Stand up, meet a friend. Old friend, new friend. We'll let you know when we're done. All right, we are having a celebration lunch after the service, so your new friends you just made, you'll get to chat with more afterward. So every Sunday, we have the honor of having somebody come up from the congregation and read the inspirational reading, and today Roy Ely is going to read that for us. Thank you, Roy.
So as I understand it, today's subject is as within, so without. Our minds and our thoughts are simply extraordinary. They are the most powerful tools that we have. And you don't even have to exercise to get them. Tools that set the stage for all levels of success in life. Regardless of what might have happened in your past, our thoughts shape our present and our future, who we are and who we will become. They influence our health and our emotional state. And when our thoughts are linked to God's thoughts for us, they become powerful beyond measure. So let us all make sure that our thoughts inside are positive and filled with love. Why should we make our thoughts positive and loving? Because as within, so without. Namaste.
Let's take a few minutes now in meditation. And I invite you to put anything down that you might be holding. And just give yourself permission to move into the moment over the next few minutes. So breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. We breathe in and we find that the very Spirit of God fills us up. We breathe in and that inspiration from God that comes from within us and comes from outside of us and comes from everything we touch and see and know. All of that is the very fuel, the very energy of who and what we are. So we breathe it in and we let that air just reside in our chest, in our diaphragm, in our stomach. And we breathe in this power, this fuel, this love of the Spirit of God for all of us, for each of us. We breathe in and the Spirit of God, it fills us up and takes us more deeply into who we really are, more deeply into what we really are. We feel this power, this Spirit of God, and it touches us. It changes us. It deepens us. It is the power of an idea, the power of thoughts, the power of feelings. So let's just take this moment into the silence for a bit. I'll be quiet, and instead let's just be with this deep, deep power of the thought of God, the power of God, the Spirit of God, deep within us in the silence. And the Spirit of God just rides on the wind that touches our faces, that touches our hands, and it is this reminder that the Spirit of God is everywhere, everywhere. And so it is, God. So it is. Amen.
Great is thy power, O God. Great is thy
Well, good morning again. Today we wanted to take a look at the power of our thoughts and just exactly what that means, because we throw that around a lot. And what's it really mean? How did it develop? Can it be real? that the very power and strength of our thinking? Can that add to who and what we are? Can it reveal to who and what we are? So let's take a look at that. I think that what our thoughts are is a reflection of what's going on in our lives. But it goes both ways. The thoughts affect what's going on in our lives. What's going on in our lives affect our thoughts. And so what that says is that overall what we want to do is understand that there's this power going on with our thinking, this power that's going on with our thoughts and our emotions. And can we change that? Can we enrich that? Can we deepen it? I mean, if you can think for just a moment, if you're talking to somebody and you say, "Hi, how are you doing?" And they go, "It's just terrible. I mean, everything I do is just bad. It's wrong. I don't know. I don't deserve this, but that's the way it is." And what do we say? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Could a person's extreme negative thoughts affect their reality? Well, it can certainly affect one reality, which is, guess what? People start staying away from you. And when people start staying away from you, then it sort of creates this ongoing cycle. I knew it was ugly, I knew it was bad, I knew it was bitter, and I told people about that, and now they stay away from me too. You know, and that just reinforces the ideas of pain and misery. Can it be just the opposite? If you're a pleasant person to be around, is it more likely that people will want to be around you? Probably. Yeah, and so those are just two extreme thoughts, but what I wanted to do was to say that we're going to take a look at the history of the development of thought and why that might be affecting us. But I'll start off by saying it's one of Unity's 5 major principles. And so I know a lot of people here are familiar with those 5 major principles and some aren't. So just very quickly, Unity's 5 major principles, the first one is that the Spirit of God is everywhere. And the Spirit of God is omniscient, which means all-knowing. The Spirit of God is omnipresent, which means it's everywhere. So that's the first one. The second one is, if the Spirit of God is everywhere, that must mean that it's inside each person too. And so what that says is the Spirit of God is within ourselves and within the other people that we meet. Doesn't mean that we always use it. Doesn't mean that we always call upon it, but it's there. The third major principle for unity is that as within, so without. The thoughts that we hold inside of ourselves, at some point, they have to begin manifesting. They have to begin demonstrating. Thoughts aren't enough. It also depends on what you say and what you do. But everything in the world begins with a thought. And so that's the third principle. The fourth major principle is that prayer and meditation are tools. That's all they are. They're just tools to deepen our experience with the Spirit of God. More than anything, what prayer and meditation do are that they teach us to listen. I mean, that's what prayer is really all about. That's what meditation is really all about. Yeah, we deepen that experience, but we get quiet, and it teaches us to listen for the Spirit of God that's deep within us. And then the fifth one, and this is the real challenge, it's not enough just to know the principles, you got to do them. Yeah, well, in other words, we have to live that way too. I mean, that can be such a big challenge for all of us. And as I say about once a month or so, if you're perfect at living all the principles, please transcend now. Because we're all here in this human experience learning how to bring them deeper and deeper and deeper into our lives. And by the way, just as a reminder, if you're facing some really tough challenges in your marriage, in your health, in your finances, some big ones, what that means, the bigger the challenge, what that means is you're really an advanced student. And so we got, oh, you thought you could solve this problem over here? Big whoop. Let's give you a real tough challenge to solve. And so that's that last one. There's this constant, ongoing tests within us. Well, okay, so let's take a look at the history of the development of thought. And so if we take a look at that, we could take a look at the Homo sapiens. And Homo sapiens are a relatively new breed, a relatively new dimension within the different kinds of beings. We have Homo erectus and Homo soloensis. There's a brand new one recently discovered called Homo denisova, which was discovered in Siberia. And what they do when they say they discover these, they discover skeletons and they take a look and see how this being would have walked, how they would have spoken, what they might have eaten. And so we take a look at all these different developments. Homo sapien is what we all are. And again, relatively new. What the science would say is it looks like Homo sapien probably developed about 2 million years ago in a little corner of Africa. And they sort of became more intelligent, more wise. But it's very interesting when you take a look at what separates us from other beings. Well, if you take the average mammal of about 130 pounds, then their brain is going to measure 7 to 10 cubic centimeters in size. When we started having Homo erectus and Homo soloensis, Homo denisova, it looks like that brain increased in size to about 36 cubic inches. But what separated us, what became interesting, is Homo sapiens, the average brain is about 72 cubic inches. In other words, it's pretty big. The only brain that's been larger has, and this is a kind of a surprise for me and probably for most of us, the Neanderthals, which we think of as kind of dumb and slow moving, they had a bigger brain than we do now. Okay, so what's all that mean? Well, as the brain developed, there was one big change that really affected things, and that was the domestication of fire about 300,000 years ago. And the domestication of fire, what's interesting about that, what's useful about that, is all of a sudden, for the first time, Homo sapiens could start having cooked food. Now, that might sound like not much of a big deal. It's actually a really big deal, because what that did is it made us healthier. It killed parasites, and it killed molds, and it killed germs. So we became healthier. The second thing that it did was that it reduced our chewing time. And that might sound like a small thing, but it's actually a really big thing. The average monkey chews for about 5 hours a day. The average human being chews for about 1 hour a day. And it's because of the prevalence of cooked food. So that does one more thing. What that does is it makes our teeth smaller because we don't need them as much. And the big deal is that it makes our intestines smaller, because there's 2 parts of our body that consumes all of the body's energy. What's that? That would be the intestines and the brain. But if the intestines get smaller, that means there's more energy for the brain. Pretty big deal, because the brain only makes up about 2 to 3% of our body weight, but it takes up about 25% of our energy. So what's that mean? A lot of energy being committed and dedicated to the brain. And what that does is it gives us more and more of the power of thought. All right. So, by the way, there'll be a test on all these. So about 70,000 years ago, Homo sapiens did something that had never happened before. I mean, How many people here own a dog? About half, maybe two-thirds. Then this is not news to you. Guess what? Dogs can think, right? Yeah. Dogs can have emotional reactions. Dogs get jealous. Dogs take things away from other people or other dogs. Animals can think. But about 70,000 years ago, something new arrived on the scene. And that was, for the first time, there was this animal called Homo sapien that could have abstract thought. Now, anthropologically, archaeologically, how would they determine that some being had abstract thought? And the way that they did that was actually very interesting. They could take a look at the pottery that was being made. They could take a look at, oh, people were developing oil-based lamps. 45,000 years ago, somehow Homo sapiens built boats and sailed to Australia. And all of that saying, oh, people could imagine something else. They could see something else. And that's what's happened to us. Now, when we take a look at the power of thought and how it's developed, what it is saying 70,000 years ago, we developed this abstract thought capability. About 30,000 years ago, for the first time, we started doing something else. We started turning to thoughts of God, thoughts of ideas about how we would be affected, how and what is our true nature. And again, it took a look at the presence of shamans and witch doctors, and a little bit later on, priests and popes and gurus. And all of a sudden we saw, oh, they seemed to have increasing importance within the different tribes. But it doesn't seem like there was still very much going on with the power of abstract thought spiritually until about 2,700 years ago. And about 2,700 years ago, we had the Buddha. About 2,000 years ago, we had Jesus. And all of a sudden, these spiritual figures started saying, what you think about affects your life. So what did Jesus say? It doesn't matter just about your behavior. So, and the example he used was if there's a woman that you want to have an affair with, Jesus says it doesn't matter if you actually had that affair, if you just thought about it, then that was just the same thing. And what he started saying was, we have to jealously protect our thoughts. We have to realize that they influence us, they affect our lives. So that's roughly 2,000 years ago. That's where we are now. Where we're coming to this increasingly important idea that how we think and what we think about, the very nature of who and what we are, it affects our lives, it affects our emotions. And we started making this a little bit more scientific a couple hundred years ago, as we started getting the Sigmund Freud, and we started getting Carl Jung. We started getting different psychologists, psychotherapists who said, how you think affects how you feel. How you feel affects how you think. You can change your life by changing the way that you think. And we could see that in some very dramatic terms. But most of us aren't living a very dramatic life. I mean, the vast majority of us here aren't going around, spewing hatred or spewing love. Most of us are just living our lives. Because you come here, I know that you're really smart. Because you come here, I know that there's a piece of you that's really trying to figure out what counts. How am I supposed to behave? And more than anything else, it's the spiritual journey that we're on, this way of shaping our thinking, shaping our thoughts and our emotions, is that is teaching us to navigate a really tricky pathway. Because here's the pathway that we're navigating. We have a human life, and we have a spiritual life. And if we go too far into the spiritual part of it, I mean, there's some really good things about that. But if we go too far, then what happens is we are denying the importance of this human life. Because if we weren't supposed to be having this human life right now, then we wouldn't be here. There are lessons for us to learn. There are great disappointments for us to learn. I'm not going to mention the name right now because she asked me not to, but a member of our congregation called me last night, and because her eldest son had just drowned. And naturally, she was just devastated. And we talked for quite a while, and what she said was, I think he was real disappointed in how his life was going right now, and had been disappointed as long as she knew him. And he was 56 when he passed away. And what she was saying was, he was here to learn certain lessons about what it's like to live a more disappointing life. And she said she and he had talked about that many times, that there were great lessons from him to learn from this sadness that he couldn't seem to shake. We are here to learn from the human life, and we're here to learn from the spiritual life. And we just want to keep kind of moving along, trying to figure out how is it that we make that happen. And this navigation process, I wanted to mention that a little bit. So I wanted to mention 7 specific steps, and it'll be kind of a way of concluding, and then we'll move into our gathering of the water ceremony. So I think our first step is to realize that our real life here begins one step beyond our comfort zone. Those things that make you nervous, those things that scare you to death, those things that I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be doing this. Our real life begins one step beyond that comfort zone. And it's time for us to take the courage to begin that navigation process, that thing that can just shake us to our core. So what are the 7 steps? Well, here's the first one. Understand the role and the power of thought. It is thinking where everything begins. I think I already mentioned this, that what we say is very important. What we do is very important. But everything begins with the power of thought. And so it makes sense that what we would do is, if we don't like the way our life is going right now, let's change our thoughts, because that's going to jumpstart how we speak, and that's going to jumpstart what we do. Do we know very much about how our thoughts show up in our life? Sure. Look around you. Look around the jobs that you have, the people you're surrounded with. That's a reflection of what's going on inside. Those are your thoughts. And if you look and you don't like what you see, change your thoughts. If you look around and you like what you see, then just keep adding more and more to the fire. Keep up with the thoughts that you've been thinking. But that's the role. That's number 1, is to understand the role and the power of thought. The second one is that we need to to develop our skills in prayer and meditation. I already mentioned this during the meditation, but prayer and meditation have one role and one role only: to teach us to listen. It's to get us quiet, to teach us to listen to the Spirit of God, and to feel and experience and understand what it is that we see and what we see going and flowing through our lives. So prayer and meditation are just essential in terms of learning to listen to God. The third step is that we keep listening. We keep listening and watching to try and understand what's going on. Because when it gets to prayer and meditation, I think especially with meditation, I mean, isn't it common for us to say, okay, I'm going to get more deeply into meditation than I ever have before. And so you do that, you just really get quiet, you go into meditation, and then you go, okay, God, I've been doing this for nearly 5 minutes. Where's my life change? We have to keep practicing, and it doesn't happen immediately. So we keep watching, and we keep listening, we keep listening, and we keep watching. And so we just pay attention to different things. We pay attention to what people say. We pay attention to the people that we've surrounded ourselves with. We pay attention to those internal experiences and those external experiences. Keep listening and keep watching. The fourth step, and I think this is newer, when we're listening and watching in prayer and meditation, I think it behooves all of us to get better at asking questions of God. It's kind of like, well, I'm supposed to ask questions of God? Yeah. It's supposed to be a conversation. It's supposed to be a class. And so all of us should develop this wonderful skill at asking great questions of the Spirit of God. And when we don't understand or when we don't think we really hear an answer, keep at it. Keep asking. Keep asking. Because the very act of asking great questions takes us deeper and deeper to our spiritual journey. And what's the one question that we're really good at? Why? Why is this happening, God? But take that one further. Ask, what am I supposed to be learning? What should I be paying attention to? Why, as much as I've been trying, why is this not working? And I think one of the really big ones in terms of asking questions, and this is especially true if you've been involved in church or been involved in unity for a long time, our faith can dry up. Our faith can just not be there sometimes, and it just feels like we're going through a routine, rote memory. And what that means is we ask that question, Spirit of God, why? I've been doing everything that you've been asking me to do, everything I think I'm supposed to be doing. Why? Why is my faith gone right now? And by the way, we all move through cycles, and sometimes it's there, it's very deep, and it's just so present, and other times it just seems to be gone. That natural rhythm of the ebb and flow of faith, that's part of our journey. And so when we think we're losing faith, keep the faith. Know that it's going to come back. The next one that I'd mention is, and I've mentioned this different times, we need to get in the habit of posting our thoughts, posting the answers that we think we've heard around the house, in the bathroom, on the mirror. We need to write out what we think is important, put them in the car, take them to work. The idea is that the thoughts that we think we'd like to be thinking, that we want to write those down when we say, that's good, that's really useful. Matter of fact, I was at the store yesterday, and a car parked next to me and had a bumper sticker that said, "When you throw something away, where is away?" And I thought, wow, that's really good. And so I immediately stole that, and went home and wrote that up. And that's what we want to be doing, is the things that move us. Yeah, we want to write those down. But then here's the thing, here's the part of it that we skip. We need to change those about once a week. We need to change the location. We need to change the words. Why? Because within a week, when you go into the bathroom and get ready for the day, you just sort of, why is this post-it note in my way? And you just stop seeing it. So you got to change the locations about once a week. And then the sixth step I say is start saying them out loud to yourself and to other people. And it's kind of weird to say it to other people. Oh, it's kind of safe here, right? You can say it here. But it's kind of weird to say them out loud. But just start practicing, by yourself, saying them out loud, because there's great power to the spoken word. But there's really great power to post those ideas, to take those ideas that you've posted and to speak them aloud to others. I think one of the best people I know here who has the courage to speak those aloud all the time, sitting right there, Doug Huffman. Yeah, I mean, in the rocking chair, that's Doug. Yeah, go ahead. After the service today, go talk to him. He's going to give you 2 or 3 things you can post. And then the last thing I'll mention is that when you've posted these ideas and thoughts that you think could change the way you think and maybe could change your life if you just listen to them and follow them, at some point it's not enough just to say them. The next thing we have to do is we have to begin acting on them. And I think at the core of that is with the people who are in our lives, we begin acting with loving kindness. When we act with loving kindness, it changes our world and it changes their world. So thank you.
Know you are loved, rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Know you are loved, rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Beloved child, my heart is yours. Beloved child, go out and open doors with your love, with your faith, with your compassion, with your grace, oh, with your grace. Beloved child, you are Know that it's alright to be afraid. Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Thank you.
All right, everybody, it is love offering time. So if you are able to give to the church, it would be very much appreciated. If you are visiting us for the first time, please know that we don't expect you to give, just be our guests. And if you're streaming, you can click on the give button in the streaming window and your contribution will be very secure. So we always have somebody from the congregation read our prosperity blessing, and this week we have Scott Hick. And I bet he'll tell us a funny joke, too.
Good morning. You know, a lady lived next door to Pastor Dennis here, and she says, I don't understand your personality. She said, you're a total different person outside of church. When you're in church, you're fire and brimstone. You bring home the message. You get the word across. But outside the church, you're recluse. You're quiet. You're shy. He says, I don't understand. And he says, well, it's simple. When I'm standing up at the pulpit, I get this alter ego. Bad? I don't write them. I just tell them. We've reached that time in our service when we ask you to give of your financial blessings. It helps us to keep this church running so naturally, and we appreciate it. As we prepare to do that, let's remember, as within, so without. Let's say that again. As within, so without. Let's make our within unbelievably good by filling our minds and our hearts with positive, powerful, illuminating thoughts. Because when we do that, then positivity, power, and illumination show up in our lives constantly, in the people we meet, and the message we hear, and the situations we encounter. Time to spruce up what's inside, because it's absolutely going to show up today in our lives. And so it is. Namaste.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing day. This healing
Thank you, Gwen and Paul. Would you join me in saying thanks for these financial gifts? Spirit of God, we do want to thank you. The financial gifts are important, of course, they help the church, but what's far more important is that we learn these ideas of the power of thought, the power of thinking, because they have this great ability to change our lives in such great, fantastic, wonderful ways. And so we say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. So, Amber, are the kids coming up? Come on. And while Amber and the kids are coming up, let me just say there's a workshop called Death is a Doorway. That's going to be Saturday morning. It's from 12 o'clock to 4:15. And it should be really good. It's, I've forgotten her first name. It's Lori LaValle's mom, who has been doing these kind of workshops for years and years. So that's Death is a Doorway, and it's going to be right here. So Amber, were the kids in class today, or were they just at the back?
No, we were in class today.
Okay,
We
what
were
they
over
learn
out on
about?
the lawn over there. And so today we talked about what it means to go with the flow, and everything flowed as it should. We did a little bit of Tai Chi energy work. We did ocean breathing. We did a meditation. And then we played a game that was about learning how to accept what comes with gratitude. And then we also talked about the virtues that you need when you go with the flow. The virtue of acceptance, the virtue of detachment, flexibility, and gratitude. And all those virtues are what you need when you're going to go with the flow. And we came over early for the gathering of the waters. So
Thank you. Yeah. Before we move to our closing song, we do want to have the gathering of the waters. And so what we've been asking people is over this last year, wherever you might have gone on vacation, if you could just bring a little vial of water back, that would be great. What we're going to do is put them in this pitcher right here, whatever we have, and then we're going to water the grandmother tree right there. Yeah. And so, Amber, why don't you show them with yours? Go ahead.
this is actually Unity rainwater. I collected it right here on the ground. I didn't go anywhere. I spent my summer here, but I can tell you it is full of love. And moon, yes, and the moonlight.
And here's mine. This is from the North Sea, right off the coast of northern England. Okay. And if there's other people who brought water, if you just want to come down this center aisle, that would be great. Anybody else? Come on down. Oh, okay, great. And where's it from?
I didn't bring any.
Okay, all right.
Unity.
Unity, cool.
Kids have the Unity rainwater.
All right, wonderful. I tried, they wouldn't take it. South Carolina. Okay, Billy? Where's your water from? Oh, there's a couple more. All right. It's from where?
Rainwater.
All right.
It's from the Boise River, 102 miles long, empties into the Snake River. And then I Weber River when I went to visit my sister, high in the Uintas, and it empties into the Great Salt Lake. And then the Umatilla River, I was hoping to get the Columbia River, but I went to the dam just above the Columbia River, and it's an 89-mile-long river that empties into the Columbia.
Donna?
My vessels are empty because I was in Santa Cruz, California getting wave water, and the waves took my water. and this one is from the Sacramento River.
Quinn's Springs. in Montana.
Okay, this one is invisible also. 'Cause it's in my other purse. But this is from the Pacific Ocean up off of Juneau, Alaska, when we went for a cruise with our 6 out of 7 kids.
Geraldine, where?
This is a river running through both falls.
Julie, where's yours from?
Well, this is actually Unity rainwater, but it carries the spirit of the waters around Leavenworth, where I went with my adult children this summer.
Hi, Tanya.
This is from Lake Coeur d'Alene. It's from Tubbs Hill.
We're doing it. We love Tubbs Hill. We love Tubbs Hill.
Thank you. Hi, Maribel. What do we have?
This is rainwater, so it's water from the sky to where it comes from and wherever it goes.
Mine is from Boise.
From Boise. And now we have Todd, who's been all over the country for the last 4 months.
This is Virga, V-I-R-G-A, not Viagra, Virga. In the desert, I went to the Great Basin Desert, and from the clouds, when it rains, it's so dry, sometimes the rain doesn't hit the ground. So I hold it up, but the rain never hit my cup. So it's Virga water.
And then right after the service, we'll take this and we'll pour it on the tree over here. Okay, let's have the kids go back to their parents. And now I invite you to stand for our closing peace song.
With God our Creator.
And now let's close out with a prayer for protection. Together, God surrounds us